Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Lasham Daily Briefing for Saturday, the 2nd of August, 2025. We won't hang around. We'll start off looking at the synoptic midnight last night. See, not a great deal to talk about there on that chart. That high pressure still ridging in from the south, beg your pardon, the southwest, starting to bring us a little bit more settled weather. We can see by midday today, it's very much becoming the dominant air mass. Out to the west, we've got a warm front approaching, but it should stay sufficiently clear today that we're not affected by it. But tomorrow will be fairly typical frontal and then subsequently warm sector conditions. We can see that midnight it reaches the western coast of the UK, and tomorrow the day is very much dominated by that feature. Looking forward into Monday, low pressure coming back in with a bit more frontal activity, but once that cold front moves through, there's a high behind which may lead to some reasonable conditions on Tuesday. The sat pic this morning, you can see reasonably clear air to the west and southwest, but over us we've still got a fair bit of upper cloud. Hopefully that either moves its way away or begins to burn off. Evidence of that warm front over to the west of Ireland as it starts to work its way in, but that cloud shouldn't reach us during our useful window today. Rain radar, nothing of note on in terms of the UK anyway. Belgium are getting hammered a little bit there by that weather. Looking out to the west, not even any rain at the limits of the radar towards Ireland yet. So probably the occasional shower, light showers throughout today, but nothing of real significance. We just run the Met Office prediction through. You can see some small showers coming in from the north, and that's generally where the poorer weather is going to be today. Most likely the lingering cloud will remain there. But to the west, northwest, and southwest, nothing of note. And locally as well, especially into the evening. So we should get a full evening out of it as well. Idiom, they don't have a TAF today being the weekend, but we do have a METAR, so their observation at 20 past 8 local this morning was light northwesterly wind, visibility greater than 10 kilometers, and overcast at 6,000 feet, with a temperature of 14 and a pressure of 1019. Farnborough, on the other hand, they do have a TAF, not a huge amount to talk about. Light northwesterly again, 300 at 6, and cat okay. Upper winds today to the south of us. You can expect northwesterly, so 310, 320 around 5 knots, all soaring levels. And to the north, slightly more westerly, only just 300 at 10 knots with all soaring levels. So it should be fairly light at height today. On the ground, we can expect a fair amount of northerly to it, but it's quite a light flow today between sort of 5 and 10 knots, closer to 5, northwesterly, becoming a little bit more of a westerly component into the evening across the airfield. So with that in mind, as most of you who have gridded already will be aware or have decided, we're operating runway 27. The local Met Office forecast, just confirming that for us, northwesterly about 5 knots, gusting up to 15 as the most, or 16 earlier this morning. Visibility should be fairly reasonable today with a fairly low humidity and high UV, so do take care, keep hydrated, and cover up. Surface temperature around 20 to 21 degrees in the warmest part of the day, with a dew point of 6. We'll just refresh that there. So this is the south side webcam looking north, just refreshed as of now. You can see that overcast cloud starting to break up, but locally a little bit, still quite a lot to the south. And it seems very thick the further north you go, but it is looking fairly reasonable already. We're starting to see cumulus, and this particular cloud here just above the caravan site is growing quite considerably in the last sort of 25 minutes. And temperature-wise, we're up to 15.1 now, the dew point of 11.4. SkySat then, beginning with the left-hand side of the screen, we have an excerpt from the potential flight distance. And as you can see there, not a great deal worth writing home about to the north. Fairly poor conditions and directly due south as well. To the west, however, looking a bit better there up towards Wales and then down to the south coast once you've gotten sort of west of Portsmouth. So this should be a reasonable day in that area for us. And again, locally fairly poor, so it will be a case of getting away from Lasham. And again, not a great deal to the north and northeast, most likely associated with a lot of upper clouds, reducing the amount of heating. Local point forecast for Lasham itself, you can see here, meant to be fairly thick cloud. It won't become overcast, should see cumulus throughout today. The reasonable amount of heating base is beginning by sort of late morning, sort of 4,500, peaking at maybe 5.5, even 6 later on in the day. We'll see if that does transpire or not. Strengths of climb ranging between sort of 4 and 4.5 knots, and the thermal top winds northwesterly and no more than sort of 13 or 14 knots. Looking at the cloud distribution here on top Meteo, starting 9, I beg your pardon, no, starting at 9 local. The concern I would have here is that it's not recognizing any of the top cover we're seeing at the moment. But we'll run it through either way. It's showing by 11 o'clock local, huge amount of cumulus in our area, particularly to the north, northeast. I would be maybe slightly skeptical of that. I think it might be a touch later than that to get going as good as it's predicted here, based on the top cover we have and what we saw in the sat pic to the north. But as we run that through hour by hour, let's see, it should remain fairly reasonable all throughout today, reducing certainly to the north mid-afternoon and blowing out at Lasham by sort of 6:30 or 7 o'clock. No times, nothing majorly significant apart from 28 and 29, which is down here. That's a high clear. And then number 28 is an air display there between surface and 4,000 feet. It's a big pardon, 4,500 feet above sea level from 1830 to 1845 Zulu. So that's 1930 to 1945 Zulu. And I think looking at the cloud charts and soaring window, it's unlikely that many of you will be coming back, certainly in that direction at that time, but it is there. And before then, between the hours of 1705 and 1735, again Zulu, so 1805 and 1835 local time, there is parachute jumping also at high clear, and that's no time surface to 7,900 feet. Back to the usual, up just north of that at 33, there's West Ilsley. There'll be winter launching paragliders up to 1,900 feet above sea level. And then up at 36, you've got the Altmore ranges from surface to 1,000 feet. Nothing great to worry about there. At 37, you have Western on the green. They are active, but not until after sunset, so you don't need to worry about that. And over at 38, you have Dunstable, the comp that's running there at the moment. Across at 35 to the west, that's a temporary danger area in Severn Estuary that's active, and that's for trialing beyond visual line of sight drones. And that's from surface to 1,400 feet, and that is essentially all day. And to the south, 14 and 7, those are just a couple of paragliding, no TAMs. Otherwise, there doesn't appear to be anything to affect. Finish off now, local airfield brief. Starting with glider allocations, there's 21 for the casual list, K13 for trial lessons, and plenty unlimited single-seater availability. And we have 4 on the casual list, so if we could have an instructor to help, that'd be much appreciated. The simulators, of course, available as normal. So, unusually, rather than being the first Sunday of the month GHC flying, we're going for the first Saturday of the month today. So the GHC will be around. If you're not flying cross country, by all means get involved, go and have a look, and maybe even get a flight in something classic. Reminder again about the Aboyne expedition. Come and see myself, Donald Barry, if you have any questions. And when you've made the very sensible decision to book on, go and see the office. Nothing to report today from 2XL. And in summary, we've got high pressure ridging in from the southwest, with a warm front situated on the west coast of Ireland, bringing more settled conditions with a light northwesterly flow across the airfield. It will be GHC flying days, we just said, and we'll be operating today runway 27 with cables on the south grass grid, as it's already positioned in 27 north grass usual place. And please be ready when the cable or tug arrives. As always, don't land or taxi across the disused runways shown in red. And there's our airfield set up to finish with the winch on the south grass, air towing normal club operations and heavies as we do on 09. So heavies or anything that anybody that would like to use the tarmac, please do. From there and the grid in the usual place on the north side. That's all from me. I'll see you out there very shortly. So have a good day and most importantly, keep it safe. Thank you very much.